Clint, when you draft a guy like Tyler Fuaga, you expect high things out of him, obviously. But what have you seen from his progress, his growth this season? What's been the most impressive thing about him?
I think the most impressive thing was his start, was just the way that he just handles the game. He is a quiet guy that works hard, doesn't say a lot, and just works and asks a lot of questions. He's texting his offensive line coach late at night, asking questions about looks he saw on film. So the game's really important to him, and it's got to be important to you to be successful. So I've been just impressed with his approach, and just probably the way his mom and dad raised him, the way just his overall mentality is the way you want him.
You guys have obviously been getting Spencer and Jake ready for games and thinking, short term for that, focused on games. But in what ways have you also tried to, quote unquote, develop? I know that's a big word all the time. Develop Spencer, long term, as opposed to just thinking this week's game.
Yeah, I think even when Derek was playing, it goes back to Coach Noco and the assistant coaches getting the guys out there early before practice. When special teams is working, they're out there going through individual drills. It's those guys come in before the starter every day when Derek was playing and get extra meeting time. So I would just say that Coach Janoco is just a bulldog on those guys. Won't let them slip. Makes them meet extra, makes them meet after, and can't say enough great things about him.
Because we won't get a chance to talk to you next week, just how would you evaluate how the year's gone for you? What have you liked being about here? What have just your performance and stuff?
I really don't want to get into the eval of the season. I want to finish the season off. Want to finish it off the right way and give our players our best this week. But as far as being being here in Louisiana and getting to be back in the South, me personally has been amazing. My family is from here, born in Houston. So getting to be close to my relatives and be back in the South has been a blessing, and I've enjoyed everything about it. Especially now that we're here in December and we'll be out there in shorts and a t-shirt. It's pretty nice deal. But I really enjoyed being a Saint, being a part of this organization.
I know this is along those same lines, but when people are evaluating you and just watching this season, what are you hoping they've seen from this offense this season through the highs and lows?
Yeah, well, I'll leave that up to them. I think at the end of the day, you are what your record says you are, and in the NFL, it's what you produce and what you put on tape. Have we had some good moments? Sure have, but it's what have you done for me today? Business. So it's up to us as a coaching staff to get it done for this week.
How will you approach the team's coaching search and all that? Is that?
Yeah, I won't get into it. I just want to be the best I can for the players this week, this game, and all those things that you can't control are not worth worrying about.
How did you evaluate Spencer's game on Sunday?
I thought he had a tremendous start. I think he started the game 11 for 13 with a drop and a throwaway. So he played as well as I thought he could in the first half. Made a lot of great plays with his legs. Very accurate. Threw in some tough pockets. And we got to do a better job of having a better second half as an entire group. But I was really impressed with that first half. Saw some great growth from him.
This might be just the nature of the business, but you only got 1 year in Minnesota to call plays. In Denver, you only did it for a year, temporarily, and then this year there's some uncertainty. What is that like as a coach, not having that certainty from year to year, and what do you make of that?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is it is a blessing just to get to do this job, and no matter how many years you get, how many games you get, some coaches don't get a whole season, so it's a blessing to get to lead this group, and just be quite frankly, as a dad, it's tough. It's not fun as a dad to move your family around, and I can't thank my wife enough and my kids enough for being so awesome and being there with me, and that goes for the entire coaching staff. That is part of the job. One of the coolest parts of this job is what we get to do, work with these players on a day in and day out basis for an awesome organization. But there is that family aspect that's tough. And I'm glad you asked that question. That gets me emotional just thinking about it. Your family puts up with some tough stuff, but everybody's got tough parts of their job, and that's the tough part of ours.
You are under contract though, right?
Yes, sir.
I know you probably won't answer this, but does like, do you have a choice of like if they hire someone else, like whether you want to stay or not, or is it up to the coach? Like, how does that kind of play out?
Yeah, I'll let that play out how it goes. I know one thing, that I want to be a Saint.
Is it possible to list an area or areas where you just have generally seen Spencer do a better job in games last 2 weeks as opposed to his first 3-week run?
Absolutely. I would say number one thing that sticks out is just how he operates the huddle. His confidence in hearing a play, calling his helmet, taking it to the huddle, and just being 100% on that operation. I've seen a guy that has matured a lot there, and we've asked a lot of him, put a lot of motion points and snap counts and cans and a lot of things, and put on his plate, and I think he's really matured in that area. I think another area that he's grown is in his leadership. He's always been a confident guy, but as he has more reps, you see him communicating better with his receivers and tight end, offensive linemen. And when there's a look he doesn't like in practice, making us repeat it. He knows how valuable those reps outside are, and just his overall maturity has grown. And I see a guy that really wants to be a great player. And everyone says that, but I think when you look at Spencer and you look at him in the eyes, and it's third down, and he wants to win. He wants to get that rep. He wants it more than anything in the whole world, and he'll do anything to get it done. And you see him scrambling and working to extend plays. And I know last week, he had a couple get called back, okay, but I love that about his game, that the down is not over with 5 and a hitch. He can extend the play and involve all 5 eligibles, okay, when it breaks down. And I think in the NFL, that's a really big part of being a great player.
How do you balance that with a rookie quarterback? You want to pick out the positives, and then you see, okay, this was a great play, gets called back, and then interception. I think that happened twice. And how do you kind of measure that against, like, okay, we have to be better, but the quarterback seems to be executing, and we're not necessarily doing a job around?
Yeah. Well, praise the good, correct the things you got to correct. I think that's stuff that goes beyond his control. That's stuff that myself and us as a coaching staff got to do a better job of controlling, so that those plays don't get called back. We got to be more demanding of our technique and our hand placement from our guys up front, and how we're getting set, and all those little things that the coaches have control over. The penalties, okay? There's too many damn penalties, and that stuff's on me. So I got to be better for Spencer and for the whole offense.
What have you made of some of the trick plays that you guys have had this year? Is that something that you came into the year wanting to implement those, or is it kind of just adapting on the fly, not having your normal pieces?
I think definitely, when you get this time of year and you're trying to look for some ways to move the ball, you got to get more and more creative, and our guys have done a great job of taking these things on short weeks and repping them and mastering them and giving us the confidence to call them. It's because they practice them so well, and credit to our coaching staff for unearthing a lot of those plays.
What did you like about Clyde Edwards-Helaire being able to trust him in such a big role, like a week after he showed up?
True professional. Came here, I know he's been in one place for a long time with one language, and then to come here and be so dialed into meetings and asking questions and doing the extra. He's a real pro, man. Really have a lot of respect for Clyde and what he's done in a short time here and able to fill in. It's one thing to know, which way to run and the route you have, and then to get into the whole protection mindset of it is a whole nother animal. So it speaks a lot to his mentality and the way he's been coached in the past.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.